So the United States is now in a situation where the country is facing a default on its debt. And the Biden administration is pushing Congress, and specifically the Republicans in the House, to raise the debt ceiling. Now, raising the debt ceiling isn't a down payment on the debt. It's not a solution to the debt problem. It is authorizing the Federal Reserve and it's authorizing the executive branch of government to borrow more. Now, the Biden regime is big spending. They wasted a huge amount of money in the aftermath of COVID. They act with reckless fiscal disregard. This is kind of like a family that just spends and spends. They don't care what they make. They are going further and further into debt. And now they want a permission slip to be able to spend and spend even more. Republicans prudently are holding out and saying, no, you have to agree to some spending restraint, to some cuts in spending, to some attachments so that if people want certain types of benefits, they're going to have to, for example, satisfy work requirements. So Republicans are doing what Republicans do, trying to impose some fiscal responsibility and also individual responsibility on the part of these entitlement beneficiaries. But see, I don't think this really goes far enough because this is not solving a problem. It's kicking a can down the road. Because again, coming back to my analogy of a family engaging in wasteful spending, sure, the family faces a kind of crisis if they're called on the debt. Pay now. Pay your loans now. And if you can't pay your loans, it's going to be bad for you. You're going to have to pay higher interest rates. We're going to repossess your house. We're going to take away your car. And the family goes, well, what we really need in this situation is a chance to borrow more. No, what you really need in the situation is an immediate tightening of the belt. And what Republicans should be doing, I think, is going even further and basically saying, hey, if you want to crash the car because you've run out of money to spend, that's your problem. That's what you're doing. You're the driver, Biden. And so frankly, if you're asking us to grease your wheels or increase the speed on your accelerator so you can be even more reckless over the next several months, we are not going to be a party to that. Now, Republicans don't like to do this. Part of it is fear. I'm sure Kevin McCarthy is thinking, well, what if we get blamed for the debt default? Republicans should not worry about this at all for the simple reason that the American public, as it turns out, and there have been a whole bunch of surveys on this, as an article I have in front of me from NBC News, they're very worried that the American public is not freaked out. The title of the article is, As Debt Default Looms, America Yawns. Well, America's right to yawn. Why? Because what NBC wants is they want people to be like calling their congressmen, and saying, hey, listen, you better vote because we don't want to have a default. We don't want interest rates to go up. The American public rightly sees that, look, this is a partisan fight. And not only this, there has been a lot of reckless and irresponsible behavior. I mean, the government has huge numbers of federal buildings that are virtually empty, and they keep them open. They heat them, they cool them, they have staff managing them. This is how federal money is spent. It's spent irresponsibly for the simple reason that the people spending it, it's not their money. There's an old saying that goes back to, I think it might be Milton Friedman, but maybe I'm wrong about that. Nobody ever washed a rental car. Think about it. Have you ever rented a car and washed it at home or even taken it to a car wash for $15? No, you haven't. And why? Because it's not your car. So you don't really care. You're just happy to turn it right back in. I've driven the car. I've gotten what I wanted out of it. So this is how congressmen are. The money that they see in the Treasury, it's not their money. They don't really care. And so they're happy to sort of use that money to buy votes for themselves or just claim credit. I'm going to, build a new bridge so I can get a monument to myself and the bridge is going to be named after me. This is the operational approach of, by the way, politicians from both parties. So my view of the whole situation is that in this case, the Republicans are right to try to impose some fiscal restraint, but the American public is even more right in basically saying, who cares? If the government acts irresponsibly, at some point you have to pay the price for that. It could be now, it could be later. I don't think that just raising debt ceilings on and on and on. And now some of the Democrats are like, well, this was Trump's spending. Well, maybe some of it was Trump spending, but a lot of it is Biden spending. There was no reason for the United States to do the policies we did around COVID. Other countries didn't do that. Scandinavian countries put a bunch of doctors on TV. They go, this is the problem. We have a virus. We recommend you social distance, but we're not going to force you. We have a vaccine. You can take it if you want. Here are the advantages. Here are the disadvantages. Here's what it will do. Here's what it won't do. And as a result, the Scandinavian countries are thriving economically. We, on the other hand, made stupid decisions, and now we're paying the price for it.